Hello, Coach.
Hello.
We'll go ahead and get started. First question, Chris Gardner.
Coach, what challenges do the Pacers present to you guys tonight?
It starts with their transition. They get the ball up the floor quickly. They have guys who can pass ahead. They have guys who fill the lanes ahead of the ball. They have guys who attack. So the first challenge for us is to get back in transition and get our defense set. Secondly, we have to contain the basketball. They are a hard driving team. They attempt shots not only in the paint, but at the rim. So our ability to contain the basketball, pursue as they drive the ball, and then close out and contest as they drive and kick. That's the next part. So those are the two things. And then for our offense, we have to get them on the move. We have to get the ball up the floor quickly and get to our drive and kick game early because they are, depending on whether Turner plays or not, they're a solid defensive team, and we're at our best when we have the ball moving, especially early in possessions.
Thank you.
Adam Spollen.
Hey, Stephen, just understanding that you guys are already shorthanded, as you get later on into the season and the schedule stays condensed and there's such little recovery time, do you just have to be mindful of just being careful with guys so that they don't suffer some sort of an injury that could impact their future?
Yeah, I mean, we've been operating like that all season, but yeah, as we get further down the road of the season in the last few weeks, yeah, we're going to have to be conscious of that. And we don't want overuse. We don't want to put guys in peril as far as injuries. I mean, injuries are obviously a part of the game, and you can't prevent injury if you're going to be playing NBA games, but there are ways to make sure that the minutes aren't crazy, and if there's back-to-back situations, maybe not play have a guy not play both games of the back-to-back, stuff like that. But yeah, with the schedule as it is, we have to be conscious of that for sure.
How do you monitor it, especially when you have guys who are really trying to make their way into the league and they may feel like, well, if I sit out this game, that's a missed opportunity?
Yeah, it's more based on, I guess, the history of a guy, right? Like if a guy has an injury history, then you're going to be a lot more cautious than a guy who doesn't have a history of injuries. So for our younger guys, they're going to get an opportunity to play, and the minutes and the back-to-backs and all of those things become a little less important. Whereas guys who have previous injuries or a history of injuries, that's when we're going to have to really make sure that we're being smart with them.
Ali Kambajani.
Hey, Stephen, you've talked about this a few times these last few games when it comes to Kelly and Christian in terms of defensively with both of them in the game switching. What are the pros and cons to going to switching? I know you guys have been doing blitzing and other things as well, but you've mentioned switching a few times. I just wanted to ask you, what are the pros and cons to sticking with switching with that lineup?
Yeah, so the pros are you get to stay body on body, and if there's matchups where like for instance, the Dallas game, Christian did a good job as far as his switching. Was able to keep perimeter guys in front of him. So it really limits the penetration. It limits the amount of help that you have to give. It theoretically would help the amount of threes that you're giving up. The cons are if there's a quicker guy and you're switching onto that quicker guy and there's a blow by, there really is no help or coverage for blow bys. You have to level a guy off. You can't let him get by both of your feet. And that happens from time to time when we're switching. So some of it's technique and getting down and into a stance. Some of it's closeout technique that we haven't been able to work on too much with our limited practice time. But other parts of it is just, having the just attitude that you're going to stop the guy in front of you. And sometimes it is really hard to do if it's a quick guy for Christian and Kelly, and other times it's a little bit better.
So, and you just thank you for sharing about the switching. Would you say the blitzing isn't more optimal because you are able to cover more ground playing with those big two bigs, or is it still switching to like you talked about staying and containing at the perimeter?
Yeah, well, the blitzing is good at times. We're just trying to, so both guys are probably more used to blitzing the ball than getting into rotation, right, and getting into protection behind the blitz. So they're both very comfortable blitzing the basketball. The issue comes, and the need for repetition comes when there is the pass out of the blitz, and where is the rotation coming, and who is the next rotator, and now you're working on your closeout technique and all of those things. So those are the issues and kind of technical parts of whether we switch or blitz, and the effectiveness of the blitz is very much based on our rotations out of the blitz, not necessarily the blitz on the basketball.
Thank you very much.
Jonathan Fagan.
With Sterling and DJ out tonight, does Armoni sort of move to the next man up job? And do you have any feel for a timetable with them or Danuel or Eric? More specifically, could any of those guys be back by your next back-to-back over the weekend in Florida?
Yeah, I mean, that next man up, Armoni is that next man up, and seems like we've had that position. That's been the consistent position this year, is next man up. But for all of the guys, DJ, I would say he had his MRI today. He was in a boot. He had crutches when we left Phoenix yesterday, so he should be out for. He won't be back for the back-to-back, that's for sure. House, I would doubt that he would be back for the back-to-back. He got some shots up today, but was not moving quickly up and down the floor. Eric, kind of the same thing, getting shots up, but not moving in a way that it would indicate he's going to be playing within the next week or so. And then Sterling, he's probably the closest. He was the same, got shots up today. He moved a little bit more than the other guys, and hopefully he'll be back for the back-to-back.
Is it, as you say those words, and we've heard it quite a bit, trying to judge who you're going to have in the game based on who was able to move a little bit more. Does it hit you when you say that, or is that just life in 2021?
Yeah, I think it's just life in 2021. I mean, watching workouts and trying to evaluate if a guy is moving in a way that he would be able to move in an NBA game is, hard to do in a 1-on-0 workout. You would usually have, as you've said this many times over the season, that usually you would have a practice prior to seeing whether a guy can play or not. And we've had a handful of practices all season, so it's been really evaluate whether guys are ready or not, and not only are they ready or not, but what is going to be the length of time between their injury and when they come back.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.